He's put me off. He's put me off, and I'm gonna. Oh, see, look, here we go. There I am. Oh, apologies for the minor late arrival of the Pro Synth Network at platform 3.5. We've had a few. Well, no. We haven't had a few minor technical difficulties. This man has had technical difficulties. Can you hear us, Ben? No, he's frozen. You see, look, he's still got difficulties. Let's remove him from the street. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is at least no orange squash has been spilled. Welcome everyone. If you're a first-time viewer of the Pro Synth Network show, let me guarantee you this doesn't always happen. just most of the time. No, we're quite professional. So welcome to the show. It's episode 147. It is the 27th of January. Blimey, it's like Christmas was a month ago. What's going on? It's just gone 7 p.m. in the UK. Welcome to everyone, wherever you might be, to everyone that's in the chat, who's joined us live. Thank you ever so much. We do appreciate you coming along. And welcome. We've got a fairly laid-back show again for you this week because we're still in that kind of post-Christmas, New Year lull. Everyone's waiting for the show seasons to start. Things are starting to trickle out here and there, but I guess this is going to be the way it is for a little while. Knowing my luck, next week we'll just be bombarded with news items. But we've got a few things for you to talk about. We're actually going to also talk about show season because we've got some things coming up we want to talk to you about. And then there's going to be an interesting topic a little bit later on where I want to discuss a video that came out from one of the many... and I hate to use this word, but we'll use it anyway, synthfluencers. And I wanted to discuss it because he wanted the discussion to happen out in the open. So, hey, let's do that. And I think it's an interesting topic. So we'll talk about it in just a little while. But before we do, let's see if he's working, shall we? Are you working, Ben? Is it all switched on?
I am, I think. Yeah, I can hear you, and hopefully you can hear me.
We can, yes.
I can't actually get any of the gear through it, but we'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
Don't move. Don't change anything. Don't even take your hat off. Okay. I take it it's rather cold in there again.
It is. It is. I'm all wrapped up. Yeah.
Have you had a good week, though? Apart from the last 10 minutes or so.
Yeah. It's been a nice week in the studio, really, which is nice. Unusual for me. So I've been doing some original music. We've got no gig this weekend, so I'm going to work on some new tracks for the band, and so going to spend even more time in it. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Well, at least that will keep the heating bill down. You just turn all your gear on. It's a fairly good way of doing it. Kent, how are you, sir? Shaven and shorn?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, Fiona can't tell the difference between the number 1 and the number 4.
Today's edition is brought to you by the numbers 1, 4, and the letter B. As Ben, let's see. Look, I told him. Is it working?
Yeah.
Oh, it is because you've changed your camera.
Yeah. I'm sussing it out as we go along. Don't worry.
I said leave it. You know what happens.
Now he makes it work.
I know. Yeah. I'll be good now. I'll leave it now.
Stop messing until. Anyway, I also want to ask one quick question. Do my lips move? Do my lips move in time with the words?
Yes.
There's no. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in perfect sync this week, as opposed to the.
It's absolutely fine.
The Kung Fu movie that we was watching last week. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So fix that. For now, anyway. I'm not going to touch it. It's all locked in. Actually, it's funny because just before I came on air, or just before you all joined in, my kind of arm that I got this really elaborate arm with all these elbows. I didn't quite tighten one of them, and all of a sudden it dropped a notch with my very expensive camera on the end of it. But luckily, it's all okay. So, like you, I'm not going to move. I'm not going to do a thing.
They haven't damaged anything expensive, then?
No, not yet. No, we're making a habit of it. Yes, everything's in Surfect pink. There you go. So, hopefully we've got most of those little things out of the way, and that would be good. So, They say things come in threes, so we've had that. We've had Ben. Oh God, what's next?
GS1.
Anyway, oh yeah, the GS1 blew up. So
yeah.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Flames and all sorts.
Mark Knopfler's got a hitman out on me.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Anyway, like I said, we haven't really got a huge amount of news topics to talk about. There's one piece of hardware. There's one piece of, well, I say software. It's kind of like browser based, but it's actually quite cool. I'm quite enjoying it. And then I want to talk about all the shows that we've got coming up so far this year, or certainly in the first half of the year. And then I also wanted to talk about this video, which if anybody's wondering and you want to have a quick sneaky peek before we discuss it, it's the Red Means Recording channel. And Jeremy put this video out the other day, specifically addressing synthesizer hardware or gear hardware manufacturers and his opinions on certain things. And I want, as we are kind of, I wouldn't say we don't have the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of subscribers as some of these people do. We're a mere little speck of something in the world of synthfluencers. I thought it'd be interesting to talk about it because we kind of get bundled into that same basket. So anyway, we'll do that towards the end. But thank you everyone for joining. If you are watching live, then of course you can chat with us in the chat on YouTube or on Twitch. We can't see what's going on Twitter, where we're also broadcasting, or you can also talk to us through Facebook. So wherever you are, you can probably get through to us through one of those. If you're watching on catch up, then of course do leave your comments below in the YouTube comment section. That's what it's called, isn't it? Also, if you haven't already, do subscribe and share our link around and like the show. Do it now. Hit that thumbs up button now. That would be great. I'd say if you can find us over on Twitter, on Instagram, of course, Facebook, where the group is, and here on YouTube. If you have a question for us throughout the show, stick a big capital Q in the front of it. I noticed Nick from Sonic State does that. He uses double Qs. And I thought, oh, hang on a minute. We did that first. We're not copying anyone. We did that first with the Q in front of your question. Anyway, we don't mind. I'm just saying we did it first. If you want to buy merchandise, vibrographics.co.uk is where you go to get some of that good stuff. Hopefully, we're going to have some of that for sale at one of the shows we're going to talk about later on. But until then, that's all that stuff out of the way, I believe. Right. Have I missed anything? No. If you want to make a donation, please use Super Chat or Super Stickers in YouTube, or you can also use our PayPal donation page. The link is in the description below the chat, but there it is on the screen. All donations gratefully received and go towards funding the channel and all the licensing and the jollies and the hookers and did I say hookers? No, sorry. So yeah, all of that stuff. We've got one question which we can answer straight away. Ian wants to know if your Drumlogue turned up today, Kent, and the answer is yes, it did.
Yes,
there it is. So
exclusive first look for us.
Well, funnily enough, that was going to be our first topic. So why don't we let's see, let's just get some information up on screen first before we do anything else. So let's find my Korg doodah. What's it? This is the news, of course, that Korg have finally started shipping the Drumlogue, which they promised us towards the end of last year. It is now available. It's 529 of your UK pounds and similar prices around the world. I thought it was quite interesting. Two things that were quite interesting. First of all, on their website, you can actually check for refurbished stock, of which I'm surprised there would be any. But also that before this, literally just before this announcement was made, they made another announcement saying the new firmware was out. And I thought, oh, how can you have new firmware for something that still hasn't shipped? And then, sort of an hour or so later, the news.
Apple?
Yeah, quite. So, that was quite interesting. But no, so there's new firmware for it. So that's added a whole bunch of things. Difficult to kind of tell what was added because I certainly don't know what was on there originally. But Drumlogue is available, and I think there's a video. There was a video here somewhere, I'm sure. Maybe not. Here it goes. Here we go. Let's stick this up on screen. and it's going to go into a new tab. Of course it is, because that's what it does. And it's now going to start playing automatically, which I didn't want it to do. So just in case you'd all forgotten what the Drumlogue was or what it is, let's have a look at it. Just a very quick preview on the screen, starting about now. There you go, brand new piece of gear from Korg. It's called the Drumlogue. It is available now to buy. And of course, wonderful Korg distributor in the north of England, Mr. Ian Cole, took an order from Kent and shipped it, and it arrived today. Mr. Spong, your first impressions, please.
First impressions, loved it, actually. I'm not normally a drum machine-y kind of person. I do own a lot of drum machines, I know, but that's... but, yeah, no, liking it. I am liking it. I've literally had it out of the box about an hour.
Good preparation there, Spong.
And it arrived yesterday afternoon.
Blimey, Ian was quick off the ball there.
Yeah, literally, I think what happened was that I think I got mine before Korg realised they had released it. I highly recommend that if you're going to order stuff, get it from Ian, because it turns up very quickly indeed.
Yeah, there you go.
So I've been thinking about ordering my Osmos from him, and hopefully we might have that next week instead of May. I think that might be the best thing to do now.
That's it, Ian. Come on, become an Expressive E dealer.
Yeah, do Expressive E now. Yeah. Initially. Yeah, it's not laid out like your traditional drum machine, really. You know, it's sort of like going, so where's the start button? Of course, you know, it's a little play button, but it wasn't where I thought they would have put it. So, but that's fine, because you know, if I'm going to learn how to use it, I'll learn where the buttons are. Mm-hmm. So yeah, loving the sounds. I like it a lot.
Good stuff. Yeah, because it's part digital, part analog, isn't it? So you have analog voices on there, but also digital stuff. I'm just going to try and get the Korg page up so we can go through. Where's it gone? I've lost the page. There it is. So let's add that to the screen. There we go. So how big is it? Because it kind of looks a bit small, but when you held it up, it looks bigger.
Dinky. It is dinky.
Okay.
I'd say that was about 10, 11 inches across, 12 inches across. It is a lovely, dinky little thing. With little
it looks a little
cheeks.
bigger than it does in the picture, I will admit.
Yeah, it looks like it would have been like 606 size, but it's actually a little bit bigger than that. So yeah, so it's a good size. But you can
so not rack mountable then? You couldn't sort of buy a pair of ears and you'd have to get some of those extended ears or something?
I don't know. I think you could. You could.
Yeah?
Ears with the holes drilled in the right place. But yeah, you could put ears on it if you actually really wanted to.
Interesting. So completely new analog circuitry from legendary Korg engineer Junichi Ikeuchi. Up to use behind the ARC 2600M MS-20 Mini ARP Odyssey. But they've got the versatility of digital with 7 digital parts, 6 sample based and 1 multi-engine based. It kind of follows on from that kind of the log family, if that's the right term for it. But in terms of sort of programmability, is it easy to sort of start getting in there without having to menu dive, or is it very menu dive? Because it obviously has that little screen in there with your patterns and settings.
I haven't really got into that yet.
Right.
Like I say, I've only had it an hour. Mm-hmm. And that was mostly going, so where's the audio cables? Where is everything? It's just, just to plug it in and apply it. It's much of a muchness. What you do, if you want to use it, learn how to use it.
Yeah. What are the drum pad buttons like? Are they sort of nice, responsive, or are they clicky? Or
They're quite nice, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, then they're not. What's the word? They're not very clicky at all.
Mm-hmm. They're more rubbery.
No, it's still hard plastic, but it's just a nice action to it. It's actually
nice.
It's quite nice. I like it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice one indeed. So, Ben, do you is this something you see in your immediate future at all?
Well, I've got very limited knowledge of it, but looking at it, it just seems like it's very, very similar anyway to the electron analog rhythm.
Okay.
It seems as though it's definitely aimed at that, kind of area. But I had one of those. It sounded great, and it sounded, from what I've heard of this, sounds quite a similar kind of thing. It's got part analog, part digital, a couple of synth engines in it. Very, very, very similar, I think.
Yeah.
But it was, and they're quite notorious for being difficult to use. You either love that system or you hate it, the Electron. So I know he's literally only just opened the box, but I wonder if, because that'd clinch it for me, if you had that like kind of power that you've got in the analog rhythm, but it was easier to access, easy to program, and get those ideas down. I think it looks excellent, so it's all down to that, really, how easy it is to use. What's the build quality like as well, Kent?
It's really lovely.
Is it?
Lovely? Yeah. I like the little black Allen key bolts and all that sort of thing, rather than just stick some screws in it, lad. That'll do. They've thought about it a bit, and it appears to be pretty much a button for everything.
Mm-hmm.
That said, there's a shift button. Oh, here we go. And understanding what the display's actually really saying and all the rest of it. And it's one of those things where you use it and you get out of it what you want, and then you go, okay, right, I've got the process, and then you're fine, So, and I don't fancy trying to use 6 or 7 different drum machines at the same time anyway. And I only learned how to use the old ones because I have to repair the buggers. So this is fine. But I mean, even today, if you take something like the TB303, although it's not a drum machine, I still can't program that.
No, I don't think anybody
I have
can.
to go and get the manual every time I fix one. Go, right, let's check it now. Right, how do you work this? And I have to keep going back to the manual every time. It's 25 years now. Still can't do it.
Yeah.
Whereas this looks a lot friendlier. Well, I was able to find my way around it pretty quickly. But anyway.
Yeah, I think the 303s. Well, I think all those classic acid bass lines of yesteryear. I think the vast majority of them were programmed by accident. It's just like like this. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, that's cool.
Here we
like
go.
that. Yeah,
I love that one. What I do like about this is that, and I guess this isn't surprising because it's part of the log family, is that you can upload your own or other people's plugins to that synth voice, that custom slot that they have in there. And there is one that's currently been developed by the Sine Vibes guy. So they Sine Vibes do some great stuff for the log series that can stick into either the NTS1, the mini log, and so on and so forth up the chain. So it's nice to see them carry that on, because that then gives it an extra sort of sense of flexibility and uniqueness, that you can upload some new cool stuff to it. So that's interesting. But there you go. So that's the Drumlogue, available now from all good Korg distributors, and of course we have the best in the chat room. Sinners Music is the company name. Ian J. Cole is the man behind it. I'm sure that Andrew will post the Sinners Music link into the chat. And if you want to buy one of those, then other dealers are available, of course, but we like Ian. So please send some business his way, because clearly he looks after his customers very, very well.
Yeah, essentially sod the other dealers.
Yeah, stuff.
Yeah, Kent got his before it was released. It was that good. It was that good.
But Ben, we didn't
The Korg
get,
chairman's going,
wasn't there a demo model?
Wasn't there a Drumlogue there?
Oh, yeah.
Where's that gone? Yeah.
We're still waiting for our demo models. But
I think I've got the CEO's one.
yeah. Dear, oh dear. Anyway, so I have to say, apologies if I keep touching my eyes. I've got sort of like a dry eye thing going on, and I was telling Kent earlier on, every now and again this sort of stuff appears in my eye and I go all blurry and I can't see a chuffing thing. So if I keep doing that, I do apologise, but it's just trying to make sure that I can control this thing. So there we go. Anyway.
There's been a little bit of interest about this in the chat, and I haven't got the chat open because I've had all kinds of technical difficulties, so I can see it, but I can't reply. It is the polymath. It's Kent's polymath, actually. It's I'm looking after it for a little bit for him.
Built by Fiona.
Wow.
Well,
She
there you
built
go.
She built it
There you
because
go.
she was building the polymaths, the mega cities. What was the other one she did for a while? It might have been the Leipzigs. But the polymaths, yeah, she built nearly all of the polymaths.
Wow. That's great.
There you go. That's one exclusive synthesizer right there.
Yeah.
Ian's just posted up in the chat there that he'll do a PSN discount. Is that to just me and Ben, or is that to everyone? That'd be interesting.
I don't care as long as I get it.
Yeah.
Well,
if it is to everyone, let us know how they go and get it. Do they just mention it? Yeah. Well, maybe I've just he's put it in the public chat there, so I don't think I've broken any rules there by.
Well, that will really
posting it
come into
publicly.
its own if he does start stocking Expressive E stuff.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I've already bought 2 of them. I can go a third. Come on.
Yeah.
I want a 3 manual. Mad.
Just having a quick look at the question. Let's just see if there's anything there. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you first to Andrew Brooks for your £5 donation. Thank you very much indeed. And, of course, to Robert Fat Dusk Hecksh. 10 quid. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Jason Crouch was asking, is there any new merch? Not yet, is the answer to that question. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure if we can get the old merch still. I think we can.
No, I was wondering about this though. If anybody's got any ideas of what they think could make great merch, things that like backpacks or caps. I won't mind a Pro Synth Network cap.
Yeah, rucksack.
Just drop it in the group or something, and
keyboard
we'll look
covers.
into it. Yeah,
Dust covers.
Gig bags,
dust covers.
Spoons. No, what was it?
Wellies.
Eurorack modules.
Wellies.
Pro Synth Network wellies.
Pet coats.
Pet coats, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Noah sport one of them.
Yeah, he would, yeah.
How about we come up with our own Eurorack module? And when you plug it in, it goes...
What a wanker.
Yeah.
It's just
I'm on
literally
it.
one sample player. It's just one sample, and it's that.
Yeah.
And we'll have Ben's picture on the front of it. We'll do that.
Big
Pro
red
Synth
button.
Network module.
Big red button.
I think we should do that.
Wanker on it.
Whilst we're on the subject of Korg, for one last second, does remind me, and Kosh Dukai in the chat has also reminded me, that if you are a Korg plugin owner, a lot of their plugins got updated the other day, so you don't necessarily get a notification with their plugin manager. So open up the Korg plugin manager or software manager, whatever it's called, and you'll find that a bunch of the Korg plugins all got a bit of an update this week. So,
Right,
yeah.
so the Korg collection.
That's it, yeah, Korg collection, all of that. Don't do it now, though, Ben. Don't do it now.
No, I won't do it just yet. No.
Blow up.
Oh, dear. Right,
Smoke.
okay. Yeah. Apparently Andrew has already sampled your catchphrase into his bitbox. There we go.
Wow.
So we're
Yes.
still, yeah.
By the way, while I remember this, it is a year ago yesterday I did my first show.
It
Oh,
was. Yeah.
yeah.
Happy anniversary.
And I'm on 101 shows.
Wow.
Yeah. I've been on
good.
too many times, haven't I?
No, well, you know,
Yeah, we've
You're
had to
part of
drop
the
the
furniture.
guest
Hang on a minute,
bit.
52 weeks.
Yeah, we don't mention the guest bit when we mention you anymore. We just
well, we'll be coming up, I think, 156, isn't it? It'll be 100, episode 156. We're 9 shows away from 3 years. 9 shows from 3 years.
Well, you and
of
Ben
doing
are.
it. Well, no, but as a channel, you know, we're 9 shows. Apparently, the merch website's still showing down. So I think we need to jump on because I want to get some merch to sell at the show. So I think we need to jump on something. And I know there's no. I know that Andy who does. Is it Andy? Yeah, who does this. Who you know was really generous and you know offered to do this for us. I know he's not been very well, and we hope you get better soon. But we'll maybe have to look into either a temporary solution or something else. But yeah, we will be on it, and we'll announce it on the Facebook page. So if you don't belong to the Pro Synth Network Facebook group, please do join up there. It's free of charge. You have to answer 3 questions. These questions 3 to prove that you're human. That's all. There's no tricks in there. Just to say, you know, you will be a good boy or girl. And then you're in, and then you'll get all the messages there. But anyway, right. That was Korg Drumlogue, available now, £529, and it gets Kent's seal of approval so far. We'll learn more as we go on.
did I see a load of individual outputs on the back of that when you lifted it up?
You
before?
did.
Ah, that's good.
And the other thing, it's the little things, mate. The sockets, instead of just being, you know, your little black jack socket sticking out the back, they have chrome bezels.
Oh,
It's very,
yes.
it's very nice, actually.
Yeah,
Very
it's-
posh. Very posh.
It is like you say. Those little things do make a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like I remember was it the R5?
Mm.
That's a brilliant drum machine, but the build quality's like
Yeah.
really crap.
But you've got this really,
Really bad.
really strong aluminium front panel, not
Yeah.
plastic. None of your bloody plastic around here,
Right.
lad.
Yeah.
And nice little, yeah. I mean, the wood. I mean, it probably passed near a tree. It's you know, it's that kind
Yeah.
of wood that you go. Is that wood? Is it? But is it
Yeah.
wood like wood. Yeah.
There you go. And 6 individual outs.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got obviously MIDI, you've got USB, and you see you've got 2 USB sockets. One, I guess, is a host, and one is not. The other side. I don't know why you've got both on there. That's interesting. And then I guess that's sync. On the rear. You've got one there in front of me. I don't know why I'm telling you. You can just pick it up and go, yeah.
Do you know that's playing?
What's
I
playing?
can't hear anything. There's like kicking tunes going on. I've not lost it down here.
It's playing something.
Yeah.
Is that
Stop
better?
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
stop
did you
now.
hear anything that I said?
We couldn't really hear you properly,
In
no,
between,
but
in
I was
between the
dancing.
beats. Yeah.
I was trying to keep the audience occupied with an impromptu
There
dance
you go. That's the
ensemble.
third. That's the third thing. That's the third thing. Oh dear.
Well, this,
No,
this-
I was curious.
Oh, it's starting again.
It's
No, that was me. Sorry.
Oh, was it?
you sod. Why, Ayana?
I got ya.
You did. I just wanted to know. You've got two USB. I can't blow that picture any because my eyes are blurry enough as it is.
Sorry.
What are the USB ports for? You got.
You've got
USB
one, so
cables.
yeah, you can plug it to a computer,
Yeah.
and you can plug a device into it as well as like a controlling device.
What's
you know
written
what I mean?
above it, Kent? What's written above those ports? Because I can't make it out.
Let me see. 2 device and 2 host.
Gotcha. Okay, so you can.
Okay.
So, I get it. So you can put a USB controller in there
Yeah.
and still have it connected to your computer.
Correct.
Right. Okay, now we're there. It's like a mini USB hub.
MIDI in
isn't it?
and out, sync in and out,
Yeah.
audio in, and 4 individual audio outs and a stereo pair.
Oh, okay. So right, gotcha. And then a headphone socket.
Indeed.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
That's
That's all you need, isn't it?
yeah.
You don't need any more than that, really.
Yeah. Lovely stuff. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's kill that web page with fire, so it doesn't do that whole thing. Now, what I want to do is, before I do that, I'm paranoid now. These issues that we've had with audio. I know that I muted a tab, and hopefully it's just that one tab, and it won't do anything else. Fingers crossed. Right, okay, let's move on to the next thing. This is kind of software. This is cloud-based, but I thought this was a very interesting little tool. It's not completely unique in what it does. I think it's probably more unique in how it does it. So if you're like me, I'm not saying anyone is, but if you are like me when you make your music, you're not classically trained, you're not even musically trained. You just sort of like mash the keys until you get a chord that you like, and then you go mash the keys until you get another chord that you like that follows nicely from the chord that you previously mashed. And then you start to link these chords together, and then you start to remember where those chords are. But I have no idea what's a C sus7 or a major flat 11th, or couldn't tell you. I've got a book downstairs that lists all the chords, but it's like a book. I have to go downstairs and get it, and then I have to flick through pages and stuff. Don't want to do that. Well, if you're like me and you don't want to do that, you just want to come up with something really quickly, then Mindful Harmony might actually be your solution. So it's a cloud-based solution. It's free of charge, but if you can donate, please do. And I'm going to get started on this. So you have this little spiral here, and what you do is you can choose your what the spiral or the circle is based on, what sort of key mode. So whether it's Ionian or harmonic minor or melodic minor. So let's go with melodic minor. So then it changes all of these chords, and you can see that there's Dorian, Lydian, Micro Lydian, and all this kind of stuff going on. And first of all, you can go in and add some chords. So hopefully, just make sure that hopefully you can hear this. Can you hear that? Yeah. So these are the chords available to you in your kind of selection. You can start off with your extensions. You can choose your voicing, your scale steps, and you can see what's how the chord is formed. And once you're happy with that, you can then sort of save that in, and then go to your next chord and do the same. And it will tell you here that some notes are in the previous scale, 1 or 2 notes, or there's no notes in the previous scale. So let's choose that one, and you get the idea. You can go through, and once you've collected your chords together and you think, oh, that's cool, then you can sort of play it and see what it sounds like. Doesn't sound very good, but so you can do that, and then you can then export it as a MIDI file. You could edit it, of course. You can change and tweak things around, and I think it's a great way of figuring out some chords very quickly that work together with, and you don't have to understand exactly which keys to hit, but it'll also teach you as well. I think it's a good little learning tool. And I intend to sit down with this and sort of figure out some sort of fairly complex chord progressions, maybe. I don't know. And you can save and download stuff and copy, and it's quite a flexible thing. Did either of you ever mess around with this at all before we came on here? Yeah?
I did, but I used it in a completely different way.
Oh, okay. Tell us, how did you use it?
Well, I didn't realise that you could put it in steps like that, so I was just putting chords together that I like the sound of, right. Just like one after the other. But then playing them. Oh, so okay. I was looking at the thing, wow, some of them, they're so hard to play. Yeah. It's like it was literally going to split my fingers off, really stretching. It was good. I enjoyed it for that. It was like a challenge, a playing challenge. So I suppose it's got loads of different uses, really. But I do like the way that you can sequence it like that, go in and edit it, and then export it as MIDI. Because, like you're saying that your knowledge isn't that great on it. Mine isn't great. I do know like a few chords, but there's stuff on here that I'd never played before because I just didn't think I needed to. But when I've heard them in a sequence sounding nice, I think, yeah, I do need to play that chord. And then I'd cramp and ended up on my back on rug. So,
you see,
real challenge. Some of them.
I bought a book ages ago, and it's just called Piano Chords, and it's like every chord, pretty much known to man, all laid out. So from your very, very simple triads right through to sort of things that use all 10 fingers. And what I found with that is that to kind of understand, I could read this thing and it tells me what this chord is and tells me the name of the chord, but I have to go and play it. And then, of course, like you say, I'm trying to hold a book and I'm trying to play this chord. It's kind of ended up just sitting on the bookshelf gathering dust. Whereas this, I can visualize it, I can play around with it, I can hear how it sounds, and then when I'm happy with a sequence or a progression, I can then export that into my DAW and then change the voicing. And this is another thing is like things like voicing. It kind of teaches those of us, Luddites like me, the difference between standard voicing, first voicing, second voicing, open voicing. So that's F sharp, but you play it in first. And I always like to mess around. Every time I if I'm ever writing something, I'll play a chord and then I'll try a different inversion of it. So maybe take the note that I've got at the top and make that the bass note of the chord rather. So, I mean, I don't really know what I'm doing half the time. Most of the time, actually.
Doesn't matter though.
No, it doesn't. As long as it sounds good. And that's the thing. And, I do like... I've always been a big fan of sevenths. I kind of like sevenths. And it's like when you play through that, you can hear sometimes, some of your favourite composers, they're changing things and you think they're changing a chord, but they're not. They're just changing the voicing. So you're hearing a piece and it's just like different voicings of the same chord, and you think, oh, that's clever because it's... So, it's a nice little teaching tool. It's a nice little cheating tool as well. I just thought it was quite cool. What about you, Kent? I mean, you're a fairly proficient keyboard player yourself, although you... admit that you're not
with chords anyway. I'm kind of in two minds with this. I understand the usefulness of this because you can find something you might not have thought of for certain. And then the other half of me is going, well, this is just sort of the Lego version of the chord pack, isn't it? You build it yourself instead of it just coming. But
isn't that better than buying it?
Yeah, exactly. It's always good to try something, because you might come across a chord that you wouldn't have thought of, and go, oh God, that works so much better.
Or an inversion of that chord.
Or an inversion of it, yeah. For me personally, no, because half the fun for me is stabbing around at the keys. Finding the sound I want, Also, I mean, the sound sometimes affects what type of chord I'll go for as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, no, I wouldn't poo-poo it at all. Not at all.
No. Andy in the chat was asking about the book that I was talking about. It's all the way downstairs, but I will find out. It was just a little book. It was a book of piano chords and it was a book of guitar chords. And I thought that'd be handy to have, because then if somebody says, "Oh yeah, I did this, E sus something or other," I can just flick through my book and say, "Oh, that's how you play one of those, right?" Okay. Yeah. They were cheap things I found in. I think I might have found those in the Works. Those cheap bookstores.
Because those books used to be rife when the home organ was the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But some home organs wouldn't respond to the way, if you do an inversion and the bass in the auto chords would not go to where it was supposed to on an inversion as opposed to you had to wait for Yamaha to come along with that one to fix that problem.
I was just trying to see if I can find it online very quickly, but I can't.
I tell you where this would be really good is those ideas that you've had to bin off because you couldn't think of the next bit. You could just feed the sequence in that you've got so far and then experiment with all these different options, and you might crack that one that's
absolutely
beat you.
Indeed. Well, for those again who didn't see it the first time around, this is called Mindful Harmony, and it's mindfulharmony.app. I think Andy did post the link in the chat, and it's completely free of charge. It's all done within the browser, and if you want to, you can make a donation to the developer by clicking the Buy Me a Coffee button in the top right-hand corner if you find it useful. And I think this has already been saved in my favourites, and I should be having a go with this a little bit later on.
Yeah, no, this is useful.
Quite enjoy that, and I think it could be useful for everyone, unless of course you're an absolute musical genius, and But
well, even then,
I suppose even then, yes,
because it's making suggestions to you.
Yeah. You might know it all, but you don't know maybe how it all works.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you're going to know what you need to know at the time you need to know it.
Yeah. Exactly. That's very clever. I enjoyed that. So yeah, mindfulharmony.app. Go and check it out. Right. So showtime, literally. So we are coming into the season of shows, as in trade shows and event shows for music technology. Now, normally this week would be NAMM week, and we'd be absolutely up to our doodahs with news, but of course NAMM got cancelled, and then last year it was done in June. This year is happening in April. Next year it's back to the end of January again. So that's I did wonder whether they'd stick with the sort of springtime or early summer, but no, they've gone back to winter. But I guess winter in California is not such an awful, well, this year's not been great, but it's not normally an awful time. So yeah, NAMM is back to January in 2024, but this year it's in April, and so we've got that to look forward to. But we have other things going on as well, and there's a couple. There's at least one new event. So let me just bring up the. Let's bring up this here, and instead of flicking through different tabs, I'll just call this up on its own. So this is probably one of the big ones, certainly on this side of the Atlantic Ocean. Superbooth, which is this May, the 11th to the 13th of May, Fez Berlin. Ticket pre-sale is now running, so you can get your day tickets or whole weekend tickets there as well. Like everybody that's anybody in terms of manufacturers and developers pretty much are going to be there. And fingers crossed, if we get it sorted in time, me and Ben will be there.
Yes.
So,
first one for me.
Yeah, first time to Superbooth for me as well. So I was planning to go last year and then kind of bailed because of COVID re-emergencies and all that kind of stuff. So yes, this will be my first Superbooth, and by all accounts, it's absolutely fantastic. So if you're going to Superbooth, look out for me and Ben. We will be wearing Pro Synth Network t-shirts. We might smell a bit towards the end, but because we've only got one each. But so we'll be doing that. I'm really looking forward to it. Not just the fact that it's Superbooth, but Berlin is one of the most amazing cities in the world. I've been before, and it's just a stunning place. You looking forward to it, Ben?
Very much, yeah. Very excited about it. I've never been to Berlin before. I've never been to a synth show before.
Really?
This will be my first ever synth show. My first time out of Warrington. No, it's not my first time out of Warrington. It's my first time in Berlin. First ever synth show. Really looking forward to it. Can't wait. Cool. I hope we do get to do it.
Yeah,
it's really exciting.
Well, so we've got tickets to book, flights to book. I was going to mention this earlier, but I was looking at flights from Manchester to Berlin. I don't know if you've had a chance to look yet, but they don't do anything early in the morning. It's all like middle of the day or later on in the evening. So that we might have to sort of juggle plans, or you drive down to Stansted and we go that way.
I don't mind. Yeah,
that might be easier to do it that way, because at least we can then get in for sort of like 9 o'clock in the morning on the Thursday, get to the hotel, check in, and be at Superbooth by lunchtime, and then crack on from there for a couple of days. So we'll sort something out. We'll sort that out. Wagyu says, is Kent going in a telepresence robot? I'd love to do that. I would so love to do that. Have one of those little iPad things on the top of the thing, and we just walk around as me, Ben, and this This thing on wheels with Kent sat there in this front room going, hello. That'd be cool.
With Noah.
knocking all the stands over.
Yeah. Oi, Kent, come back here. Leave her alone.
Yeah.
You could have a little tiny one with an iPhone on it.
With Noah.
Noah's head.
I could go around knocking all the keyboards off their stands. Go, oh, I know somebody can fix that.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good idea. Though.
Yeah, drum up some work, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Sure, the virus software companies used to do that, like create their own problem and then they fix it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to hopefully, fingers crossed, if all goes well, we will be at Superbooth this year. We won't have a stand or anything. It'll just be me and Ben just wandering around, taking some videos that we might
place
post on
up
the channel.
with your t-shirt.
With the t-shirts, that's it.
Yeah.
Leave some flyers around, and then I don't know what we'll do for the show that day, because obviously we'll be in Berlin, so maybe we'll have to see if Kent can run the show, and we can dial in from our sort of hotel bar or something.
Yeah. As long as nobody perfects, it's not, if anybody's expecting any professionalism.
Oh God,
forget it.
The pro in Pro Synth Network does not sound for professional.
Doesn't it?
No.
I don't know what it means. Actually.
Prostituted.
Yeah, proactive synth network.
Prostate.
Prolapsed.
Prolapsed.
The prolapsed synth network. That works. So yeah, Superbooth. That's one of the big ones, and we are going to be there.
Excellent.
What else have we got? Now this one is a bit closer to home for me, and maybe a lot of you. It's certainly a lot closer to home to anyone that's in the UK. But this is Synth East, and this is Robin Vincent's handiwork. Now, Robin Vincent has set up, this is the first time it's ever going to happen, in conjunction with Electronic Sound magazine, who are also based in the wonderful city of Norwich. And it's all going to happen at the Norwich Arts Centre, which is a converted church. And there's going to be Steve Davis will be there with his all-star modular patch-off, I believe. Andy Brooks is going to be involved in that, hopefully, as well.
Yes.
There are going to be all sorts of exhibitors there. So, and get this, I mean, this is a list and a half. So that's just a quick view of the stage, because it's used for a lot of live concerts. I was there. I'm actually going to be there next week watching Young Fathers. I was there a few weeks ago watching Billy No Mates. It's a great little venue. But the exhibitors will include, so ALM, Busy Circuits, AM Synth, Arturia are going to be there. Ash and Sound Machines are going to be there. Bastel Instruments, Bifaco, Blick and Synths, Expert Sleepers, Expressive E. We might even get a go with an Osmos. Nobula, Korg, MIDI Cake, Moog. Some outfit called the Pro Synth Network. We're there. PWM, Racket, RYK Modular, and Thonk, and there's more to come. So yeah, as you noticed, we are there in all of our glory, and the plan is that I will turn up with one or two rather interesting synthesizers, and it's just a case of having a presence there, and hopefully we'll have some merch to sell. But maybe we won't. We don't know. We'll see. But come along. It should be a great day. And so there's Gaz Williams is going to be there. Steve Davis is going to be there. Nick Colt Void is going to be there. Finley Shakespeare is going to be there. Robin's going to be doing this thing with Steve live. So yeah, it's going to be a cracking event. And so you buy tickets. There's two types of tickets. There's a day ticket where you can go around and watch the shows and look at the stands, and there's some musical performances going on during the day. And then there's an evening ticket for the gig, and the tickets are very nicely priced. Gone to the wrong. There we go. So Synth East. Day tickets are now apparently sold out, £6.50, but the evening tickets are still available. There's also a £15 joint ticket as well. So yeah, come along to that. It's at Norwich Arts Centre, and it is taking place on the first weekend in March, which is Saturday the 4th of March. So there you go, Synth East. Now, another event that's going to happen is this one. I'm assuming, can you hear that?
No,
I didn't. There was a bit of me just at the moment.
I wasn't sure whether there was anything going on, but I started suspecting that there should have been.
Yeah. So ContinuuCon is going to happen in Lisbon It's the week after Superbooth, so May 17th to the 19th. And I'm going to just pad here while I fix that audio thing. So yeah, this is, I think, it's not the first one, but they've had a few of them. I think this might be the third or the fourth ContinuuCon, and it's basically a show, an event, a conference event for. It initially kicks off with the Continuum, the Hack and Continuum, but since kind of embraced all instruments that use the Egan Matrix and so on and so forth. So let's have a look at that video once more. Here we go. You can hear that now, can't you?
Yes.
You get the idea. We'll stop it there. But yeah, this is your conference for all things Continuum, Egan Matrix, Expressive E Osmos, all of that kind of stuff will be going on in Lisbon. The dates I say what did I say? It's a week after Superbooth, so the 17th of May. So if you're in Europe, you can scoot down from Berlin to Lisbon. It's only a couple of days drive or a short flight.
Little walk.
Yeah. They've done one in 2017. They did one in 2018 at ERCAM in Paris. All sorts of wonderful people will be there playing all of these wonderfully kind of expressive instruments that are all generally powered by the Egan Matrix. Tickets, let's see what the ticket prices are like. So the ticket prices, have we got ticket prices? £250. That's for your first ticket. If you want subsequent tickets, then it's another £150 each or something like that. It's in Palmeira, or Palmeira, I think is the way you pronounce it, Palmeira, in Portugal. So if you're into all of that kind of stuff, that's where you need to be. Fancy it, anyone? It's a little bit niche. It's a little bit niche.
It is, but it's interesting how it's developing into this like user base, an ecosystem for hopefully other devices to slot into, and they're building a community around it. Might encourage more people to develop things in that, and I think it's a great thing.
And of course, the Egan Matrix itself, the software is quite impenetrable. So I'm told it's very difficult. So things like this will clearly help those that are really into it.
You get like some user experience, GUI guide that you can sort all that out at one of these things now, and it's another step in the right direction. Before you know it, we'll all be programming this kind of really expressive sound engine stuff.
It's nice that there's a community of people out there that are that kind of committed to it, that they will have an event and invite everyone else in, and that's the way you kind of build a bit of momentum, I guess. So Andy was asking for the link so he could share it, and I'm just trying to find it here.
I think he's found it.
I think has he found it?
Yeah, he's found it.
There you go, ContinuuCon.com. There's lots of season news. But yeah, I thought that's interesting. It's very niche, and it's kind of expensive, I guess, compared to others. But then this is a more because it's niche, I guess. And it's like that thing when you say, if you can't afford to service a Ferrari, don't buy a Ferrari. I suppose if you've got the money to to buy an Osmos or a Hacken Continuum, because they're not cheap. Let's be honest. You could probably afford 150 or 250 quid to go to a conference.
What if you can afford to buy 2 or 3?
Well, indeed.
You couldn't have one of them for Rolly.
No.
No, it's just loads of people in shorts throwing ham at each other.
I don't know if it actually covers. Do they welcome Rolly owners here, or is it just Continuums and?
I don't think they'd be welcome.
Fingerboard, Continuum Mini, Eager Matrix module for Eurorack, and the Osmos. Yeah, so not a single mention.
Really, because the Osmos is the one thing that really doesn't slot in with that group.
Yeah, the Rise would.
The Rise is more like a Continuum than the Osmos. It's weird, isn't it? So
but the Rise, does the Rise have an Egan Matrix synth?
It doesn't have any, does it?
It does have its own dedicated plugins.
The Grand does.
Oh, the Grand does. I thought, what's the one that you and Richard keep playing?
Equator.
Yeah,
that's on the computer.
Yeah, but I mean,
software on a computer. Yeah, it's not in here.
But is there an Egan piece of software for the Rolly, or is it their own stuff?
It's their own stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's probably the link there. Obviously, then is Egan Matrix, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Thipol Sandra is just.
From that point of view, yeah, sure.
Yeah. It is just Egan Matrix basically, because that's I guess that's the link, isn't it, between that? But yeah, very interesting. I would like to see some stuff from there, particularly now that the Osmos is kind of included. So, Ben's dropped off again.
Oh dear,
he's turned into a big red dot. Anyway, so we've had Superbooth. The week after that, we've got ContinuuCon in Portugal. Before that, of course, in March, 4th of March, we've got Synth East in Norwich, which is a lot cheaper and a lot closer to home. And then, of course, we do have the granddaddy of them all, which is not that button, this button. And we bring in NAMM, which is taking place in April this year. So they're sort of creeping backwards towards the January date. Where are we? Here it is. NAMM will happen April the 13th to the 15th. I think you can, if you're signed up, you can start buying your tickets and passes. Certainly Trade can now. And I know a lot of people I speak to, when I say, I'd love to go to NAMM, they say, yeah, you say that, but when you get there and you come back, and you generally come back with NAMM thrax, as they affectionately call it, which probably was a version of COVID for many years. We just didn't see it that way. But yeah, it's just one of the ones I've always wanted to go to. And also because it is in California, and I love LA, and I'd love to go back there again. So maybe, I don't know, maybe next year we do Superbooth this year. Maybe next year we do NAMM. Who knows?
Yeah,
it's for us. It's just that little bit further away and a little bit more expensive than a quick hop over. And that was an hour and 50 minutes to Berlin from here by plane. So it's a little bit different. 11 and a half hour flight from us to there. What am I not trying? Sorry, I'm just. I'm not trying to address. I'm just looking through the things. What am I not trying to address?
The ramp video.
Oh no! The ramp video is coming soon. Don't worry, that's coming soon. We've got an hour. Don't worry, we've got that coming. Do you want to go to NAMM? Anyone?
I'd love to go.
Yeah,
I'd love to go.
I've realised that my picture quality is much better since I've cleaned the lens on my phone.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
I thought it was my glasses.
Yeah. I cleaned them first and then realised that my picture wasn't that great. Seeing it in 1K.
Honestly, right now, this eye is all blurry because I need to flush it. So I can't tell.
Yeah,
you look fine to me, mate. You look fine.
Cheers. Yeah. I'd love to go to NAMM. I'd love to, but maybe in a couple of years.
Yeah.
So,
well, we'll see. I mean, so we've been able to, in recent years, accumulate enough funding to kind of sponsor a trip for us to go to Superbooth, which is not horribly expensive, being here in Europe. So fingers crossed. But what we must have, of course, this year is Andy and all of his carpet footage from NAMM. We are particularly looking forward to seeing if they have changed their carpet. So during the period, we're going to call it, as Ben says, CarpetCon. That'd be good. But NAMM is always this kind of big frenzy of activity, or was this big frenzy of activity at the very beginning of the year, and I kind of miss that because like here we are right now, we're kind of padding. We've had like one piece of hardware, a freebie cloud-based piece of software, and now we're just talking about the shows that would have started this week. This is the week of NAMM, or normally was, but it will be again soon. Of course, don't forget that we can't bring you any details because there aren't any at the moment, but Synthfest generally happens at the first weekend in October, and I am led to believe, although please do not take this as confirmation in any way, I'm led to believe that will still be the case this year. News of that as and when it breaks, and we tend to get it quite early here because of my connection with Sound on Sound, and hopefully I should be doing something there this year as well. So Synthfest happens in October, which is kind of a nice end to the show season, but we'll talk about that a little bit more closer to the time. So Synth East, ContinuuCon, Superbooth, and of course NAMM in April. There's plenty of good stuff to look forward to, and hopefully some cool new gear. Right. Before we get on to what I guess is our major topic this week, I just want to plug this one again. And this is the impulse response competition that is being run by our friends at GPU Audio. We mentioned this last week. All you've got to do is create an inventive, ingenious, or creative impulse response. Tell them how you made it. You can use free software, which they will link you to if you go to this webpage. And the competition is open until the 23rd of February. If you want to enter that competition, we would love it if you could use that link. It is in the description down below in the video, so if you want to click on it now, you can go there. So it's basically gpu.audio/ProSynth Network IR. We don't get any kickbacks from this, but it just tells them where they're getting their traffic from, and if they see us delivering a lot of traffic to them, it helps with our future relations with such companies. Then put that on the screen one more time, gpu.audio/ProSynth Network IR. All you've got to do is create one or many impulse responses and just make them ingenious and inventive and creative. Register an account, send it in, tell them how you made it. The asset pack is downloadable there, and if you win, you will win some amazing prizes such as a 3XS Scan Performance 17-inch music production laptop, an NVIDIA 3080 Ti GPU card, or a Radeon Pro W6600. There are 5 Sonable Smart Bundles, 5 Flame Sound Inferno SFX is up for grabs, and other bits and bobs, including track mastering stuff there as well. So go and have a go and try and create an impulse response, and then mess around with that, and you never know, you might be a winner, and if you are, let us know. And fantastic. There we go. Right, again, link is in the description below this video right now. It's there. Go and click on it.
You can use anything as an impulse response, can't you? Yeah, it's
absolutely.
Like just your imagination's the only limit there. I'm just thinking, if anybody thinks, "Oh, I'm not entering that. I don't even know what to do." It's well, they give you straightforward, isn't it?
They give you instructions. They also give you links to free software for both Mac and PC that allows you to create impulse responses, so you can then do it, and you don't have to fork out any money or have much expertise at all. It's a very simple thing. Cool. So there you go. Right. Oh, and one other little piece of news before we move on to our final topic, because I think it will take us. And this came in just as we were about to go on air, so I'm just going to read this from my mobile phone. But I will put this tab up here to back this up. I got a message from our dear friend at the Alan R. Perlman Foundation, the wonderful, gorgeous, delightful Dina Perlman herself, telling me that she's going to be bringing back the archives live sessions starting next month. So it's only a few days away, and these will include such things as watch parties with Herbie Hancock interview, Billy Currie interview. There'll be lots of surprises plus special tech talks on how to fix your vintage ARP synthesizer. She sends love to everyone and hopes that you can join her at some point over the next few months for a whole bunch of new archive material. So there you go. If you want more information on that, it's alanrperlmanfoundation.org. Nip over to the website and make sure that you subscribe to the ARP channel, the Alan R. Perlman Foundation channel, and then you'll be able to enjoy that content. Wow. There we go. Done.
Some big names.
There is. I can't wait to see that Herbie Hancock one. And Billy Currie, of course, but Herbie. Wow.
Yeah.
So, looking forward to that. Yep, okay, right. So, here we go. Let's hope that we don't upset anybody here. And I just want to set this out there right now. I'm not... I didn't put this on the schedule so that we could have a slanging match or be bitchy about anyone in particular. I just thought it was a very interesting talking point. And the person that created this video that we're going to kind of discuss the content thereof said he wanted to start a conversation, and so in that spirit, well, we're going to continue that conversation. We'll see what you guys think, and we'll see what our audience thinks in the chat. And of course, if you're watching afterwards, do leave your comments in the comments section, because I think that they're going to be very valid. So what am I talking about? It's a question you ask yourselves a lot. So you might, I'm hoping you're familiar with a channel on YouTube called Red Means Recording. And it's a really interesting, useful channel hosted by a guy called Jeremy. And Jeremy reached a point very recently where he felt he needed to address an issue. Now, let me just play the introduction to this, and maybe he'll explain most of it himself. Here we go.
The video that I'm about to play for you was recorded about a month ago, maybe a few weeks ago, when I was at, I'd say, the nadir of my self-confidence as a person who remains alive. A lot of dead ends I'm seeing in my career, in the way that I've set myself up as a creator, the way that I've chosen my profession or not chosen it. A lot of dead ends, a lot of no way outs. I wanted control. I want control. I want to feel like I'm in control. So this video is about my relationship and possibly other creators' relationships with music technology brands, and the way that I feel as if we are being sort of taken advantage of. I stand by everything in this video, though I have workshopped it a bit, and I'm going to be interjecting and editing some stuff as we go through. Also, I want to apologize for just how smarmy I am in this video. This is what happens when you're like terrified of yourself and where you are, and you have like zero confidence in yourself, and you're trying to overcompensate. So that's what's going on there. Oh, and hey, Mitch, if you're watching, this isn't about what you and I went through. I filmed this video before that. This isn't directed at you. This wasn't because of what happened there. So don't sweat. No hard feelings with that whole thing. Anyways, this is Future Jeremy off for right now. I'm going to be watching the video here with you in the rain on my iPad, and we'll just see how it goes, okay? See you in a bit.
Hello there. My name is Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording. And this video is specifically for music technology brands. If you're not a music technology brand, please log off right now, close YouTube, go outside, touch some grass. We're done with you. It's just for music technology brands. I wanted to make this video for a little bit now. And what I want to do is just talk to you parasocially as a brand about the state of music technology YouTube and your relationship with it, and people like me, because I've made some personal decisions about how I'm going to go forward working with you, and I kind of wanted to explain to you why, and explain to you how you can work with us better. I think there's a bit of a misconception and issue surrounding people who have decided to make music technology content on YouTube and music technology companies who approach them to do videos about their products.
Right, I'm going to stop it there because it is like a 18-minute video, and obviously Jeremy articulates his points very well. but I'm going to try and condense it down. So what, and this is what I believe Jeremy is saying, is that he is a very successful music technology synth YouTuber, synthfluencer, if you want. He actually uses that word and cringes when he says it as well. So we share that. So he's very successful, and he obviously is very good at what he does in terms of being a videographer. He's also very good musically and technologically, and he's got like 413,000 subscribers. Oh, how we wish we had those numbers. 413,000 subscribers, so he's clearly very popular. He obviously gets approached a lot by all of the music technology companies that think that he can help them, and gets requested to make video content with their stuff. Whether it's, here's our new synth, we're going to release this in 6 months, don't talk to anybody about it, but you can release your video on day zero, day one or whatever, at midnight. Come up with your content, that'd be fantastic. And hey, keep the synth, keep the drum machine, keep the software, whatever it might be. And Jeremy's not the only guy that does that. There are loads of people that do that. Some are really, really good, some not so much. Some of us we like from a personality perspective, and some, again, not so much. We all have our favourites, and we all have our reasons for them being our favourites. I kind of like Loopop. Straight for, it's not a personality thing. All you ever see is Loopop's hands. I don't think I've ever seen a picture of Loopop. He does his wonderfully. He's wonderfully.
In the group.
I've never seen his picture. He does these wonderfully chaptered videos. They're like online video manuals, and I love that sort of stuff. So I really like his stuff. There are a few others that I will watch. Alex Ball's another guy, but I mean, he's not so much. He has done a few new gear things, but a lot of his stuff is historical, and again, that appeals to me. So anyway, what Jeremy is saying, the crux of his point is that it's all very well music technology companies approaching people like Jeremy and others to say, would you make a video about our thing? And unofficially, the payment is you keep the thing, whatever the thing is. So if it's a third wave, or an Oberheim OBX8, or whether it's a Mini Freak, or whether it's just a Drumlogue or something like that, you make the video, you get to keep the gear. He gets asked a lot to do this, undoubtedly, because he's very good at what he does, and he has to pick stuff, and it takes a lot of time. Now, we just do live stuff, but this takes a lot of work, so I can't imagine what it takes to do professional looking. Well, I can imagine what it takes. It takes a lot. There's a lot of investment required. And he has bills to pay, as we all do. So what he's saying is that in future, he's not going to work for free, because you can't go to the bank with your Mini Freak. And I'm just picking the Mini Freak. I'm not saying Arturia are guilty of anything in particular. I'm just saying he can't take his synthesizer or drum machine to the bank and say, here, can I put that towards my mortgage this month? That doesn't work. If you want to sell that gear on PayPal or on eBay or whatever, and you get paid through PayPal, you have to declare that to your local tax office or system or whatever it is that you use, or maybe you don't. Maybe you try and get away with it, but ultimately you can't pay bills with gear. And so he's championing the cause of YouTube synth people. To kind of not, he does use the term unionize, but in a sort of fairly informal way. I think he talks about guild, maybe, of people coming together and saying, look, we're not going to kind of stand for this anymore. We do great work. We do great work because you always come to us, but we don't get anything back from you. So I think that's kind of the general crux of his argument, and he does make it very well. I would thoroughly recommend watching it all the way through, because at the very beginning I was like, what the hell are you talking about? You've got over 400,000 subscribers. Your ad revenue income must be pretty good. I don't know what it is, but it must be fairly decent. I'm sure you've got some other things going on. Now you're saying, you want more. And that's how I started thinking. And then I watched it to the end, and I actually started to kind of sway more into his territory and sort of understanding what he was up to. So what I wanted to discuss was how we think this should actually be. Has he got a point? should manufacturers pay people like us or Jeremy, two completely opposite ends of the scale, obviously, but should they get paid some sort of money, or have they, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here, are they asking for way too much because nobody asked us, and I'm going to say the collective us, synth YouTubers, to do what we do? Nobody asked us to do this. We decided we were going to do this, and if we could make a little bit of money off of it to pay for that, so we didn't have to keep digging into our own pockets, then fair enough. Is it now? Have we got to a point where that balance needs to be redressed? That actually, guys like Jeremy make superb videos that really do benefit the end company through increased sales and adoption of their products. Should they be getting more? Or should people like Jeremy quit doing this and start a career in proper marketing and go and get a job at a synth manufacturer and get a payroll job there? So I'm just kind of throwing things out there. Do any of you guys have a point you want to make initially? Well, and of course, if you're watching in chat, then do make sure you stick a big capital Q in front of your comments, and we'll try and share as many of them as we can.
For me, I think you came up with a solution in the last thing that you said there. If they want to earn money, to pay the bills, then go and get a job. And if you're really good at the synth thing, go and work for Roland or go and work for. You've chose to do what you're doing. I've chose to do this, and like every Friday night I'm here. I'm not complaining that I'm not £1,000 richer when I wake up in the morning. I'm doing it because I want to do it. It's my choice, and I can't complain that I'm not earning enough to pay my lecky bill through it. And also, the other thing that concerns me is the bias. Once you're paid for something, you're no longer getting an honest opinion of that thing. So if Sequential paid me to do a review of the Prophet 6, I'm not going to say it's a load of shit, am I? It's like it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But so you're never going to get, if that is the case, you're never going to get an honest opinion on something. And I just think it's totally wrong. If you're not making enough money, tough, go and do something else.
Yeah.
If you want to do it that much, then you're going to have to carry the cross of that life decision, and that means that you're not earning as much money as a lawyer or a footballer. That's your choice. I just don't think he's got. I haven't watched it to the end, I've got to be honest, but I understand. You're doing this and you feel as though you should be earning more money than what you're earning, and you feel as though those companies should give you the financial reward for the amount of effort that you've put in promoting their stuff. You are marketing it for them.
Yeah.
But it's your choice to do that. You get the gear. If you're not happy with that, go and get a job. I sound like Carl Wilkinson, but that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. I mean, you make a really good point there about being paid to do something. So if Company X, I'm going to try and not use any other company because I don't want to incriminate anyone or bias anyone. So if Company X comes along and says, we've got a brand new synthesizer, we'd like you to make a video for it, and here's £1,000 for you to make that video, and you go, great, thank you very much, here's the invoice, and you do everything, you make the video. With YouTube's rules, you've got to then put that label in the corner of your video saying, something about, includes paid content, whatever. So all of a sudden, straight away, us as viewers are going to watch your video and say, he got paid to do this. And whether he does or not, we are going to automatically think there's going to be some bias in there because money changed hands. And there's no getting around that. There's nothing to get, to come away from that. You took money from a company to make a video about their product. Now, whether that company then says, we don't care what you say about it, just make a video. Even if you don't like it, make the video. That becomes difficult for the content creator to say, look, I will take your money, but I'm going to say that your thing is rubbish. And then the content creator then has this dilemma of, well, I've just said that Company X's thing is rubbish. I took their money for it and I said it wasn't very good, are they going to come back to me and pay me again for the next one? Because they might not, because they think, well, we won't go to him because he's making, comments about stuff that we don't want to be made. So it all gets very kind of muddly, and this whole implication of bias then comes in. And I don't think as an audience we would trust people like Jeremy, and I'm not saying this disparaging, but we wouldn't trust people like that if we knew they were getting paid by the manufacturers to say lovely things about their products, and they would feel somewhat obliged to do that. I'd just like to say right now, we've never been paid by anyone. We rarely get anything from anybody to talk about anyway. We do get some stuff. We have got some very generous companies out there that say, hey, if you want to talk about this on your show, here's a license for the software, or here's a loan of this, or here's a loan. It doesn't happen often, and generally the ones that do it are the same ones all the time. And we love those people, and we thank them for the support. We don't ask for it generally. Sometimes if we think there's something really cool coming out, I will email them and say, look, if there's any chance we could get it generally is software, if there's any chance that we can get a copy of this in advance, at least we know when we're talking about it what we're talking about. We're not just making assumptions based on a 1 minute YouTube demo or whatever. But we don't take money for it, and we absolutely wouldn't, because we're not doing this to make a living. But people like Jeremy, and there are others out there who are quite open about the fact that this is their career. But my question is, and I'll come to Kent for this, my question is that why did they start doing this in the first place? Did Jeremy start doing this to build a YouTube channel with 413,000 subscribers and counting, to then earn income from YouTube? Because that's what a lot of people do, whether it's in music technology or other things. They start a YouTube channel, they hope that they can garner a big audience and regular viewers. That gets them a lot of ad revenue, and there are some people, probably only a handful, if you look at from a certain perspective, just a handful of people that earn 6-7 figure sums from doing that and having other kind of sponsorship deals. Kent, what do you think? Do these people have a point in saying, look, I started off this channel in the hope that I'd get a few 100,000 subscribers and make a half decent living from revenue? Or am I looking to make great content and earning money from those people providing me with the stuff to make content about?
There was a couple of things. There was a couple of points that he was making about, you can't pay, you can't pay your bills with a drum machine and stuff like that. And you go, well, if you're doing a Simpfluencer type show, and you get the OBX 8, for instance, and you get to keep it, you can fucking pay bills with that. You've got it earlier than most people. You stick that up on Reverb, and he's then complain about, you have to declare it to the inland revenue, you have to pay the tax. Well, you have to do that if they pay you money as well. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. I would have thought that most people get into doing this kind of thing because it's fun. If you set out to do this to be your sole form of income, then you shape your business around that. So you make yourself, instead of a YouTube influencer in the normal sense of the word, you make yourself into a company. And then you start wearing the shoe leather out, and you start going around companies and say, look, this is my channel, this is what I do. I can do this on a professional level, I can be freelance, blah, 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 or I can work for you permanently. So it's literally saying like, oh, this is what's wrong with the business. And you go, but it isn't a business.
No.
This isn't a business. Mm-hmm. So he's bitching about the situation he's in and thinks that the entire genre should change to fit him. He's an idiot.
Okay. Valid point.
I'll have worse things to say about it on my show tomorrow.
Okay.
No,
I mean, there's
deluded.
so Robert has made a very good point here, and I want to address this because I kind of have skin in that particular game. He asks, does Sound on Sound get paid for reviews? And I can categorically state absolutely not. They do not get paid to do reviews. I do reviews for Sound on Sound. They don't get paid by the manufacturer to do the reviews. They will get offered stuff. Here, who do we send this thing to? Who's going to do the review for the magazine? Generally, it's a loaner, and that has to go back. And the review gets written, and it gets published. And Sound on Sound has always been 100% independent and doesn't take... So, as Robert says, no, they don't, and they shouldn't have, and they don't. Absolutely. It is the job of you as a YouTuber to find the way how to kick as much money as possible from what you're doing. Now, of course, Sound on Sound make their revenue from adverts in the magazine. So, they charge companies to put adverts in their magazine and on their website. They charge, or they put advertising in the podcasts, on the podcast channels, and so on and so forth. They generate their revenue by delivering the content. They don't generate their revenue from the people providing the material for the content. And so I think that's a very valid point to make, because what Jeremy and all of those others are doing, they've created, the vast majority of them have created a channel with, I guess, with the prime objective of earning some income from YouTube as a content delivery platform and through advertising. And I know a lot of these people create videos and they have sponsors. I saw one just the other day. Our good friend Ollie in Ireland. Some of his videos are sponsored by a company called PCB Way that do PCB and components and all that kind of stuff. And sort of like halfway through his video, he'll spend 60 seconds just saying, thank you to our show sponsors. Sonic State do exactly the same. They have, I think at the moment, they've got people like Baby Audio, and they've had Isotope and a whole bunch of others in the past. That's a sponsorship thing, and you earn some revenue for that, and I guess you plow it back into your channel to pay the bills, etc., etc. So I think a lot of these synthfluencers, for want of a better phrase, seem to think that they've joined the industry, but what they've actually done is they've created an industry of their own. And now they're looking to this other side of the industry and saying, well, pay me. But a lot of those companies, certainly the bigger ones, the big named ones, and I've dealt, I'm on first name terms with a lot of the marketing teams at these big companies, and they have marketing teams. They have their own in-house videographers and their own in-house demonstrators. But this all boils back to a concept that I guess, I'm trying to think when it certainly first came to my attention around the early noughties, when the internet was starting to really boom. There was this thing called WOM, or word of mouth. And word of mouth marketing was a company saying, you know what, if we tell our customers that our product is the best in the world, they're going to go, well, yeah, of course you're going to say that because it's your product and you want to sell it to us. Yeah. But if Joe Bloggs or John Doe or Jane Doe or whatever, who is just a regular Joe or a regular Jane from your community, says, hey, everyone, I just bought this, and my goodness, it's the most amazing thing in the world. The public are going to trust them because they're one of them. And so the companies cottoned onto this very quickly with the internet, because first of all, it wasn't YouTube, it was blogs. People were starting blogs. Hands up, I was doing it. And I had a blog, and I would talk about things and write about things that interested me. And if I bought something that I thought was really cool and wanted to tell everyone that it was really cool, I'd do it. And then ever so slowly, I started to either, kind of reached out to some companies, or they reached out to me and said, would you write something about this? And the deal was never, how much do you want? Money was never in question. I never asked for it. They never offered it. It was a case of, I'm looking for content for my blog. You're going to give me something to make content with, and maybe I get to keep it, maybe I don't. But that's it. That's word of mouth marketing. And this is what these synthfluencers do, the likes of Jeremy and I'm trying to think of the others, Bo Beats, and who are the others? I mean, there's so many out there now.
Isn't it?
Yeah, but all of these people, they started out as these word of mouth marketers, and that's what the manufacturers see them as. They're word of mouth marketers. If you want to be in marketing and get paid for it, you either start up your own marketing business and then you hawk your services to any company that wants to pay you to do that, or you go and work in-house for one of these companies as a marketing person and produce content that way. But if you want to be a trusted individual within the community, taking money from a manufacturer to make your content isn't going to do you any favors from the audience's point of view, because they're just going to say, shill. I've been accused of it. Mark Doty, I've tried to get Mark on the show. Unfortunately, we didn't, because I know that he has been accused
Didn't pay him
lots and
enough.
lots of times. No, we didn't pay him. That deserves a...
Thank you. I'm here
Oh,
all
thank you
week.
very much.
Try the chicken.
But yeah, Mark has often been called a shill for whichever company he's been doing a series of videos for.
Yeah.
I've had it leveled at me. So it really is... It's a complex thing, but I see where Jeremy's coming from. He's got bills to pay. We all have bills to pay. But should he be expecting to be paid from, the manufacturers to make the content? Because then that doesn't make him independent anymore. And he then becomes perceived, I'm not saying he is, but he then would become perceived as a shill.
But if they standardised this, unionised it, or whatever you want to call it, and make it that this is what should happen, how long do you think it will be before the various influencers turn on each other?
Yeah. I thought what was interesting in this
It
video...
turned the whole thing into a feck fest. It really will.
But it was interesting what Jeremy mentioned about these launch day releases, and he's going to completely stop doing those. So that's when, people like him and others will get the product in question in advance. Maybe it's only in its beta state or whatever, but they get it in advance. They sign NDAs. They're not allowed to talk about it. They produce a video. Might be might be like Loopop. It might be an instruction manual that's 45 minutes long, or it might be a 15-piece, very well shot, very well lit, really interesting piece about this thing. And then all of a sudden at 6 p.m. on the day, everyone releases their videos. And I know for a fact, you speak to, I think, like Nick at Sonic State, you don't get much more honest and upfront as Nick. And Nick is run off his feet most of the time. And he's starting to not bother with releasing his videos on the day at the on the dot, because he wants to take a bit of time to make it. He doesn't have the time to make half of them in that way anymore. And Jeremy's now said he's not going to do it. So I applaud him for that, because I think it's a terrible sort of practice. It just...
I don't think it makes a difference, because if you trust someone, you will wait for their opinion on it anyway.
Yeah,
you might watch all the early releases just because out of curiosity.
Yeah.
But your trusted reviewer will be the one that you go back to because you trust them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you don't trust them if they're getting paid.
Don't most people get more than one opinion? Anyway, and if you're being paid and everybody's saying the same fucking thing,
if you're going to buy something,
it's all pointless, isn't it?
I end up watching every video there is out there on it. When I'm thinking about buying something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the way.
Several times.
It's the way we do things these days. But before,
it's just not the format to be making. I mean, you can make money on it, obviously, but you have to set it up in that way to start with. You can't. Yeah. Go into it and then a few years down the road go, no, do you know what? I think I want to make a couple of million quid out of this. I'm going to shape it all, and I want everybody to join in so I don't look like a dick. Which is essentially what I got from that video. So I mean, it's like I do my show. It costs. The software cost me like 500 and something quid a year, and all the rest of it. Yeah. And people go, oh, you should monetize it. We pay. No, it's not what I'm doing it for.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want money for it.
Before Synth Network, I was trying all sorts of different things. I'm old. I'm in my 50s. I like to write. That's my thing. I know I'm good at that. I know that sounds conceited, but I get paid to do it. So
if you're good at it, you're good at it. Yeah.
And that's what I enjoy. I enjoy doing that, and I enjoy doing this actually because it is very free form and free flowing, and just live and off the cuff. I prefer that than doing very well prepared things, as you can tell. But I did look at how can I maybe do stuff like Jeremy and the rest of them, and I keep referring to Jeremy only purely because it's his video we're sort of referencing. And Jeremy, if you are watching, love what you do. We're just using this as a talking point. Cameras. I didn't get that camera, which is a lovely 4K camera, until a few months ago. I didn't get the very elaborate mounting thing, this arm with elbows and all sorts of things. I didn't get that until just recently because they're not cheap. Lighting, that was probably the first thing I did because I was told the first thing you really need to make sure is get your lighting right. So I got my lighting. But none of this stuff is cheap. This, I bought this out of my own money. Because I do podcasts, and that was 300 and whatever it was quid. The boom arm that costs money. The software to make this stuff costs money. There is financial outlay involved, and
but you do it because you want to. You want to have the good stuff. You could be doing this with the mic built into your iPad.
Yeah, and some people do, and sometimes it's not awful. But
9 times out of 10, it's about content.
Yeah, exactly. It's about how you present the content. How a lot of people like the way that Bo Beats does his thing, or Loopop does his thing, or Alex Ball does his thing, or Jeremy. Yeah. We all have our favourites, and we'll naturally gravitate to them before anyone else. But we will have a look at other people's just to see if they've got an alternative view or point to make, or maybe they found something that the others didn't. And we all have our favourites, but you watch them, and a lot of them are so slickly produced. And I wonder sometimes, this has just popped into my head, I was going to mention it earlier. So I'm assuming that we're all familiar with Top Gear, both us and our audience. Top Gear being the motoring review program that was started in Britain in the 80s and was very much a car journalism show. It was all presented by very well spoken Tiffany Dale and Angela Rippon and Noel Edmonds, and it was quite dull and boring.
The Queen.
The Queen. Didn't she review the Rolls Royce Silver Spirit once? Anyway,
yeah, she did the Corsa as well.
It got canned, and then brought back to life by Jeremy Clarkson, who was one of the original, well, not the original, but he was certainly in that first tranche of episodes.
Yeah.
And he saw the potential for having a TV program, a motoring entertainment program, rather than a motoring journalism program. But he did meld the two things. Now, whether you like Jeremy Clarkson or not, that's beside the point. What he did was very clever. He took entertainment and motoring journalism and married them together into a show that has sold all around the world. The brand is massive. And then whatever Jeremy's done beyond that is it has been very successful at what he does. But the point I'm trying to make is that once Top Gear had established itself as what it was, you got lots of people on YouTube trying to do Top Gear style motoring reviews. And if you go on YouTube today and just pick the car that you drive and just type in that into YouTube, you'll find a dozen videos at least of people with cameras mounted on the windscreen driving down country lanes, doing their little bit to camera in an attempt to be a bit like Jeremy Clarkson or a bit like Richard Hammond or a bit like James May or whoever's presenting Top Gear at the moment. And the consistent thing you can see through all of those videos is that they're all trying to do an interview for a job at Top Gear.
Yeah.
You know that if you went to every single one of those people, that they want a job on Top Gear. They want, that's what they're doing. They're not doing it to make money. It's like an interview. It's like an extended interview. Here, I'm creating my portfolio for you to look at. Here's my show reel for you to look at.
Yeah. And on that bombshell.
Yeah, and on that bombshell. But no, I just think that sometimes that's kind of what's happening with the YouTube video things, that they're all trying to, it's almost like we're auditioning for something, although I don't quite know what they're auditioning for. We've got Woody Piano Shack in the room. Hello, Woody. It's great to have you in the audience. Now, you, Woody, I've got to say this. You're one of my favourites. Your reviews were always just the thing I liked about Woody was his sheer, unbridled, genuine passion, and skill. It was all about passion and skill about the instrument. But, Jeremy's a great bloke and made some excellent points, but he overlooked that only a minority of us are running channels for primary income and business. Most of us do it as a passion project. Yeah, that's what we're doing it for.
Well, I'm in kind of a unique position here, I think, of being not. I wouldn't consider myself a synfluencer at all, ever. I just wouldn't do it. I either like something and I go, I like that, or I don't like that, and what other people take from that is up to them. But I've been in a position where I've had a product reviewed, as well as being somebody who now kind of very gently skirt around the outsides of reviewing other products, which was the controller on Sonic State.
Of course, yeah.
And he was, and Nick was demoing the controller with the software, and he had nothing but praise for the software, because it's great software. He had a few points about the controller. And he said them, and the reason he was able to do that, and they were valid points as well, is that he didn't pay me to have the controller there, and I didn't pay him to do the review. It was perfectly laid out what he thought about the controller, which was it was far too expensive, which technically, it was far too expensive, but handmade in the UK. Go for it. And I would watch the review and I'd go, but if you really, really wanted it, you will swallow the cost, which is basically what the review said. And that's fine. And no money had to change hands.
No.
All I had to do was get the address off him so I could send him the controller. That was it. Did he keep it? No, they're too bloody expensive. No, send it back. So, and if you brought money into that environment, it's going to get horrible. And what you will get are reviews that are worthless.
Yes.
From it. So, yes, there's people making money, at least in the interim, would be making money from it. But the information you're getting is useless and valueless to you because it will be influenced by how much they got paid.
Yeah.
And it will completely ruin the whole bloody thing.
Yeah.
So, going back to your point about, word of mouth.
Yeah. I think the whole kind of synthfluencer community, certainly as a consumer of their content, I watch them because I believe, or certainly most of them I believe, are independent, honest, genuine, and of course entertaining. Because I'm not going to watch a video where somebody's being really boring or dull, or there are videos out there, and you think, no, I can't watch it. So you've got to be entertaining at the top of the list, but you've also got to be honest and clear. And the moment you put includes paid promotion, anyone, not just me, anyone is going to go, how much has that money influenced what you're saying to me now? How much can I trust what you're saying? Because I know for a fact that if you give a bad review, you might not get another chance to review stuff by that company. I've had that actually happen to me firsthand. I've told the story before. It was Roland. They sent me a JP8 to review. I didn't like it for lots of reasons. I wrote about it and never heard from them again. Now, make of that what you will. I've also had people approach me and say, "Will you review this product? And here's how I want you to review it." No, that's not going to happen. But the vast majority of people or companies that have been generous enough to send me equipment or software for me to try and then talk about whether it's on a live show like this, or whether it's in my blog, or whether it's a review on Sound on Sound, or a review in Gear News. They do it completely without any influence. We're not going to pay you money to do it. Here's the gear, and maybe yes, you can get to keep the gear. And some people think that being allowed to keep the gear is an influence on your opinion because hey, I'm getting free stuff. But I haven't got room for stuff, so I don't necessarily always want free stuff. It's nice when you get it, but it's not all. It's not all that. So, yeah, I get the point that's being made. I just maybe think there's more to it, and it's not just something that can be covered in a 17-minute, 18-minute video. And I applaud him for having the balls to go out there and put it to the world and ask for people to discuss it, which is what we're kind of doing.
It's definitely a great discussion point. I think he, like you say, he is very brave bringing it up, and obviously he enjoys doing it so much that he needs to make a proper career out of it. He doesn't want to do anything else. So I get that, but it's like you can't reinvent like being a greengrocer because being a greengrocer isn't providing you with enough income. You've got that. You've made your bed. That's your bed.
Yeah.
Get in it. And I'm sorry, it sounds harsh but if you've made a choice, you can't say, oh, I want to be a painter. I think I'll start charging Winsor and Newton, for me to use their paints. Like it.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't know. It just doesn't seem. There's no bit of it that seems right apart from the creator who's getting more money. Like the audience don't win because we're not getting an honest opinion anymore.
Yeah.
Can't be.
No,
you can't give an honest opinion if you're being paid for it. No way.
Even if you try to give an honest opinion, and you do in your own mind give an honest opinion, that doesn't count. It's what the audience thinks, and if the audience knows that you are receiving a salary, or even just being able to invoice for a chunk of cash to do that product video for them. If you want to make great product videos for synthesizer companies, then check out the job pages and go and get a job at a synthesizer company. I know people that have been doing that stuff. They've been doing synth YouTube videos, and then someone has come up to them and said, hey, we've got a job in our marketing department, so come and work for us. And they've binned everything else off, and they go and do that thing, and that's their thing. So great.
I'd just like to say that Manny Fernandez is by far the best synth programmer I have ever met in my entire life.
You know what? He's the most attractive bald person I've ever met, and I want to marry him.
And what's best, right? What's best about him? He can give you toothache with his resonant filters, and then remove the tooth that's causing the problem afterwards.
He's the greatest dentist in the world. What that guy can't do with a bicup suit isn't worth talking about. I'll tell you.
Exactly. Manny,
just made a mockery of the entire discussion.
Yeah. We accept your donation kindly, and we shall be advertising your products and wares, unbiased, of course, for the next couple of years.
Get your teeth done at Dr. Manny Fernandez.
Yes, Dr. Manny Fernandez, the best dentist in the West. Thank you so much, sir. I mean, we love you anyway, but thank you. Manny has been a great supporter of this channel in many, many ways, and that's just one of them, and we love you for it as well. And of course, whilst we're mentioning Manny, of course, we mustn't forget the likes of Carl Bate, who thinks this is an excellent topic, well worth a discussion. 10 of our British pounds. The wonderful Simon Greatbatch, who I had the pleasure of meeting at Synthfest earlier this year, late last year. Thank you. Yeah, maybe I'll meet him later this year as well. Thank you for your tenor. David Searcher, of course, always welcome. Wonderful man. Great question you posed on Facebook today. So yeah, and of course the wonderful Cleo, who is David's boss. An owner. So thank you ever so much to you guys for your support. Did I miss anyone? No, I don't think I did.
Just another point.
Yeah.
The people that really benefit from synfluencers, I suppose, would be the smaller companies. And most of these companies, especially if they've got a new product coming out, that means they've been spending out money on materials and development and all the rest of it. So their asses are already scraping along the ground.
Yes.
Now they have to pay people to talk nicely about them on top of that. Then they're not going to be sending it. So all these influencers are asking for money. You're going, well, here's the latest one from Roland. Here's the latest one from Korg. Here's the latest one from Yamaha. Yeah, we're still waiting for that one, by the way, Yamaha.
Yes, Yamaha.
Yeah, Yamaha. You know, and other companies that may have reasonable liquid capital to work with. I imagine Modal won't just before a launch. Even Expressive E probably haven't. Rolling probably haven't either. You know. And little companies, and especially these little, modules. Eurorack modules. A lot of these companies are, they're going to bring out one, maybe two modules, and it's used up all of their capital. And they go, well, we haven't got money to start paying people to be able to review it.
Yeah.
So they just won't get. These people won't get the work, and then they'll be complaining about they don't make any money doing it.
No.
So it's like, no, it's just something that shouldn't be monetized like that.
Yeah. I mean,
I wonder. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just wondering whether some of this has come from the amount of software that's coming into the industry, because the software has got no monetary value at all. So if as the industry becomes less hardware reliant, these reviewers are going to be dealing with a lot more software.
Yeah,
and not have any.
Yeah, because you can't sell an NFR, can you? So,
yeah.
I've worked with a bunch of companies over the years, and still do, to do either editing of manuals or proofreading or writing of, to do sound design for, or beta testing for, and I have never, hang on, I just want to make sure in my head, I don't believe I've ever received a financial payment. I've never submitted an invoice to any of those companies, because most of those are small companies, and they approach people like me because they're small companies. As Kent said, they're already at their bottom line. So when a company approaches me, like has done recently, and said, can you edit and proofread our manual? I'm more than happy to do it, because I think they do great work, and I'm interested in what they're doing. So this gets me like a little insight. And then they say, well, we'll talk about remuneration. I'm saying, well, look, we'll talk about that later. And invariably, what will happen is maybe I'll get that thing to play with. Maybe I'll get first dibs on talking about it, or get an exclusive for the show or something. No money changes hands. No, the money that I earn from the music technology industry is proper paid gigs for companies like Sound on Sound and Gear News and others. Those are the people that I send invoices to on a monthly basis for the work that I do for them. But yeah, to take money, and then make it's. I don't think something's going to get sorted anytime soon. I
still reckon this is what music shops were for.
Yeah. I used to go into music shops every week and almost get kicked out the amount of times I'd go in there and ask questions.
And because you can say everything that your opinion on a piece of equipment. So if I did a video and I'm talking about the Rolly and stuff like that, you can do this, you can do that, and all the rest of it. But however, there's a particular way you have to play it. I suggest you go out and see if you can find a shop where you can try one. Ideally, try one before you consider buying. And that kind of is the same for just about everything else, really. I mean, you do it with a hooker, why wouldn't you do it with a Rolly?
Well, quite.
You've got to try before you buy. I know they go on about it, but they give in the end.
I mean, I think you've got a really good point there. The fact that we are now living in a world where, whether it's music technology or some other industry, that you can't just go into a shop anymore and oh, I'm going to try these few key. Oh, I'm thinking about buying a workstation, so I'm going to go in. I'm going to play with the Phantom. I'm going to play with the Triton. I'm going to play with this or play with that, and then I'll make my own mind up from my own experience. Nowadays, we don't have that because there's hardly any music shops left, or you live thousands of miles away from them.
I live in a cardboard box. I wouldn't know.
But I mean, you had the opportunity back when we were kids, and beyond. I mean, I used to be always in the music. They knew me by name, and I'm sure that everybody here of our age will probably have a similar story. The music shop guys knew you by your name. They knew what you were into. And after a while, you'd walk into that shop and they'd try to start selling you things because they knew this is what you were into. And I would go into Academy of Sound or Carlsborough or what was the one in Bury? Oh, Sounds Plus. And they knew what I liked. So they'd always say, oh, have you seen this, Rob? This is a new synthesizer. This is a new this. And you'd go into that and you have that relationship. You don't have that anymore. So we're looking for that information. We're looking for those people to give us the reasons to go out and buy this stuff. And these are the guys. And they do a great service. But they are their own industry. I don't think you can start charging the other industry for giving you the content or for giving you the materials with which you make your content, and you make your money from your content, not from the manufacturer of the instrument. That's kind of where I'm leaning towards.
Yeah.
The film studio asking money from the writer.
Yeah.
To make the film.
Yeah. It's an interesting point, and I'm not saying that I completely disagree with what Jeremy is saying. I'm not saying I completely agree with what Jeremy was saying. I think he's got a point that needs discussing, and I think that maybe something needs to shake out from all of this, and there's a better understanding. And I'd like Jeremy to carry on making the videos he makes, and I'd like them to be potentially bias-free. But I also want Jeremy to be able to pay his mortgage and put food on the table for him and his family, and not be freezing cold and have to use a food bank. So I'd like that as well. But if he has a choice to make, maybe that has to play into it. And
I think there's got to be a better solution, like a subscription or something that just takes it away from that. This is a paid review.
I'll tell you one thing, though. This is just my belief, but I'll tell you one thing. If Jeremy turns around and says, I'm not going to review anything by any company unless you pay me a salary or a fee to do it, he's not going to be reviewing any of their stuff ever, because behind Jeremy are probably 1,000 people who will happily take just a synthesizer to do a YouTube video for it. And of that 1,000, maybe 100 are pretty good at doing that. And of that 100, maybe 5 are really good at doing that.
And they will get Jeremy's.
And they will then
viewers.
start getting Jeremy's viewers and ad revenue and all of that stuff. And they will get the audience because the audience wants someone they can trust. And I'm sorry, but, if you have 2 people trying to sell you product X, and one is the manufacturer of product X, and one is just a regular person from down the street who's just like you, who are you going to trust more? It's just human nature. You're going to trust the person you relate the most to, that have nothing to really gain from telling you that this is a wonderful thing, other than helping you to understand that this is a wonderful thing. Whereas if the manufacturer of the wonderful thing says this is the best thing since sliced bread, then you're going to say, well, I'm sure it is, but you're only saying that because you want to sell it, because you're a corporation and that's what you do. This is capitalism. It's interesting. And have you got anything else you want to add to that? Because we have hit 9 o'clock, and I don't want this to ramble on and ramble, because we could. I'm sure we could talk about this for ages. Any kind of closing thoughts from either of you, or are you happy with the way you've delivered?
There's been some great points in the chat, but
yes,
I'd like to see
it.
I'd like to see it continued in the group, maybe, and get a bit more in depth conversation going about it, because there's got to be more to it than what I understand of it. There usually is. But, it just seems as though it's a no-go for me. It's a definite no-go, because nobody apart from the producer of the program benefits, and It's just, it's not as good as the system we have now. Yeah, all right, the people that are doing it may not be the most wealthy people in the world, but they're making a living doing something that they love.
Yeah.
And that's, I make money in my day job. I don't like it as much as I like doing this.
No,
but I make that choice.
Yeah.
I've got to go there instead of doing what I really like to pay for the house that I live in and what have you. Yeah. And that's the sacrifice I've made. I can't do this all the time because I have to pay for the house.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the same here. I mean, I would love to give up my day job and do my writing and my podcasting and all of that stuff, but it wouldn't even cover a week of my expenses to keep a family of 4 going. It just wouldn't. So I have to do a day job, and that means I don't have time to do other things. So like you say, Ken, any closing comments from yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I've had him remain nameless, but a guy contacted me and he says, "Oh, I've just bought a Rolly and a Hydrosynth and watching a video of you playing a Rolly and a Hydrosynth." I didn't say a word in it. There's no review, but he went out and bought these 2. Let's face it, not particularly cheap pieces of equipment based on watching me play them. Mm-hmm. So you couldn't monetize that, could you?
No,
you can.
No.
It'd be horrible. No.
Yeah. Very true. I think all I want to say in closing is, and I don't know whether Jeremy will ever watch this. And I hope that you didn't take this as a personal attack, but you brought the subject up, and so therefore we're discussing it. What I hope is that Jeremy continues to do what he does because he's very flipping good at it, and I hope that we continue to benefit from that. And I hope that either way, whether I think he's made his decision, but I hope that he is successful in whatever he decides to do, and I hope that he finds a place where he thinks that he's getting the value that he thinks he's worth from doing the work that he does. I hope that he finds peace with it all and goes on to successful things. Whether he's carries on as a YouTuber or whether that gets pushed to the back, either way, I hope that he does really well because he deserves it. He's put a lot of hard work into it, and I respect you for bringing the point up for debate because I think it definitely kind of needed some discussion. And I hope other people discuss it as well. So there you go. And there we go. So line drawn. Let's. If you want to carry on this chat, please do. If you want to carry on in the Facebook group, all I would say is yes. Love to have a thread there where people put in constructive and respectful opinions, but please don't let it descend into a slanging match. If you don't agree with someone, just say you don't agree. You don't have to. Don't play nasty. Just be nice.
All right.
But yeah, if you want to
I don't agree and your dog stinks.
Yeah.
Your dog needs a bath, mate.
But thank you ever so much. And of course, if you want to continue the discussion below in the YouTube comments, then please do. That'd be fantastic. Also, if you enjoyed what you saw today, then that's great. Fantastic. Leave us a like. If you haven't done already, just click that thumb right now underneath the video. That would be fantastic. Give us a subscribe. Hit the bell to make sure you get notified when we're on air next. Just to let you know, we are working on a number of people, and when you hopefully get to see these people, you'll go, oh my God, they really were pulling all the stops out to get some great guests on the show for 2023. But it's quiet times at the moment. Everyone's kind of recovering and planning for the year. So we will have some really interesting guests coming up. Fingers crossed, very soon. If you're going to be in Superbooth in May, look out for me and Ben. We'll have more on our ventures coming as they develop. We'll be back same time, same place next week with a guest, maybe not, who knows, and hopefully with some news to talk about and maybe other controversial topics. Maybe somebody will make a video in response to this video and we'll talk about that. I don't know. That's how it goes. It kind of does the rounds. But look, if you want to engage us on any of these things, if you agree with us or disagree with us, please do, and do it politely and respectfully in the chat comments or over on the Facebook page. Either way would be fantastic. Tomorrow, Ranzi is back. He's back off his summer holes. So I believe it's 1 p.m. UK time, whatever that translates to in your part of the world. Ranzi will be back. Welcome back to him because he's been off for his summer holidays. So be good to have him back. Jamie's show is now at 7 p.m. So because Dom's still away, not very well, and Jamie's agreed with Dom that he moves his show up to 7 p.m. UK time. So don't turn up an hour early, but you'll be there at 7 p.m. On Sunday. Of course, you've got Nick normally on the Wednesdays at 4 p.m. It's always a good watch. Have I missed anyone? Don't think I have. Kent, are you doing anything? Because you've taken a bit of sabbatical because you've not been very well and stuff.
No.
And will you
I'm
be doing
one tomorrow
soon?
night. I'm doing one tomorrow
cool.
night.
Cool.
I've had many requests.
I bet.
And also, would I do a show? And so I've decided to do one on Saturday.
He's had many requests, but he's going to ignore them and do the show anyway.
Yeah. Some of them are physically impossible. Seriously.
If you want a link to watch Jeremy's video, by the way, it will appear in the excuse me, Windy Pops. It will appear in the description below within the next sort of 48 hours once I can get around to doing that. Can I also take this opportunity just to do a bit of a plug, because it's been a very busy week for me in terms of podcasts. So where are we? I think on the right page here. I had a podcast come out today on the Sound on Sound podcast channel, which is my interview with Mike Lindup from Level 42. What a lovely guy. What an absolute legend. Oh, apparently there's no Geosynths next week, Jim's just said. But yeah, Mike Lindup from Level 42, he's an absolute gem, and we talk about his all of his synthesizers that he's used over the years, from his Prophet 5s through all of his Yamaha gear of the mid-80s, and then right up to what he's using present day, and we talk about the history of Level 42 and his solo career and all that kind of stuff. And he's got a new album coming out very soon, so yeah, go and watch that one. There was also another podcast that was a mini kind of podcast. I didn't honestly think that they'd take this one up, but I was going to put it out free, like across YouTube or SoundCloud, just under my own channel. But I thought I'll speak to Sound on Sound because I did this. This was kind of part of what I did for them a couple of years ago, and I snipped a piece out of my original podcast with the late great Don Lewis, which was a real nerd out on FM and DXs and Don's part in the origins of the all the factory presets. And after he passed, I thought, wouldn't it be great if I could just like put that out? I spoke to Sound on Sound and said, yeah, we'll put that out. So there you go. It's on the Sound on Sound podcast channel, which is completely free of charge. Cool. And you can hear Don. When they say you can hear a smile, my God, his smile was huge. He's such a joyous person. It's so sad that he's no longer with us. But it's only about sort of 15 minutes long. But it's a great look into his history with Yamaha, those early FM days. Of course, 1983 was when the DX7 came out, so it's 40 years old in May of this year. 40 years since the DX7. So there you go. A couple of podcasts.
How long it took me to repair it.
Yeah, quite. So we'll be back same time, same place next week. In case you missed it, I got it wrong. Jamie isn't on this week, so there'll be nothing on the Sunday unless Kent wants to fire up the old chat room again.
Yeah, might leave it on from Saturday night.
Well, yeah, do that. Are you gigging this weekend, Ben?
No gigs this weekend.
Weekend off. Nice
yeah,
one. Feet up then. And we need to talk about arrangements for Berlin.
Yes.
Yeah, get that sorted out. Brilliant stuff. Okay, well, that's it from us. We'll be back 7 p.m. UK time next Friday, with or without a guest, who knows. It'll be fun, whatever. So do show up. And I'd like you to pay attention to the closing credits because they have been updated for 2023.
We've got chuffs. We've got chuffs.
Oh, we've got chuffs, have we? Thank you, Wagyu, for your regular.
Chuffs.
Your regular chuff donation. We're super chuffed that you've chuffed us. Thank you very much indeed. So without further ado, we'll see you next week. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Kent. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button. Do hit the subscribe button. Leave your comments below if you have any. And we'll see you next week. Take care. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.